does the Torah specifically say that we free a Canaanite slave if his owner knocks his eye out? Then he's automatically free. He's no longer a slave. He gets his freedom papers, and go on, the owner gives him what he has to give him, and the guy is free. Now, really, this is incomplete, what the Torah is telling us. To learn the entire law, we have to look in the Gemara. The Gemara tells us, wait a second. The Gemara says, if he loses any one of his 24, what's called a Roshei Avarim, 24 main limbs. In other words, if God forbid, he's working in the field with his boss, and he loses a hand. He loses a hand, he goes free. Or if he loses a foot, he goes free. Or if he loses an ear, he goes free. Then why doesn't the Torah say if he loses one of his main limbs, he goes free? If he loses his eyes, he goes free. What's the Torah telling us? It's right here in Exodus, 21st chapter, and the 26th verse. V'kiyakeh ishet ein avdo. And if a person hits his slave's eye, or ein amato, or his handmaidens, a female slave, or her eye, v'shichata, and they lose the eye, then they're set free. Chofshi yashalchenu tachat eino. That under his eye he goes free. And what is it about the eye that he goes free? And if I'm not mistaken, Hashem is giving us a big message here. Okay. If a person loses his eye, he's no longer a slave. You can't be a slave twice over. Why? King Solomon, our sages, said something very important. Ayin roeh v'lev chomed. The eye sees and the heart lusts. Our sages learned the converse of this. If the eye sees and the heart lusts, then what the eye doesn't see, the heart doesn't lust. In other words, the heart has no yearning for something it doesn't see. If you take a person that was born in a cave and never saw a Chinese restaurant and never smelled Chinese food, he's not going to yearn for Chinese food or Chinese restaurant because he never saw it, doesn't know what it is, doesn't know it exists. Right? What we don't see, we don't yearn for. So since the slave lost his eye, he's no longer a slave. Okay, bad enough you got him an eye, now he can go free. This, if I'm not mistaken, is the intrinsic meaning here. And this is what we say, if a person succeeds in guarding his eyes, he no longer has a Yetzer Hara. Because the Yetzer is fed from the eyes. That we learn it from that particular passage in Proverbs, that what the eye sees, the heart lusts.
Thank you for listening to the Guard Your Eyes Daily Chizuk broadcast. Pass them on to your friends and help spread Kedusha in the world.